Hello and welcome to a review of Mahokenshin, uh, developed by Game Source Studios and published by Iceberg Interactive. And Mahokenshin is an interesting combo of like a deck building game. So if you played games like Slate Spire and similar games, a lot of the like the deck building mechanics are very similar. You get new cards, you can remove cards, you can upgrade your cards, and so on and so on. And then there's a few different Mahokenshin that you can play. So let's just jump in the game and I'll show you a little how the game plays. And we'll do a one of the side missions. So this game has a story basically that you go through. There's basically these celestial realms, like these floating islands that you go through, and there's different missions, and there's called summoning demons, and so on and so on, and some outlaws and bandits and things that you need to deal with. But we'll do one of the side missions, so you don't get any story spoilers or anything. But in Mahokenshin, you have a different Mahokenshi, so basically, and they play differently. For example, Ayaka here is a very offensive, fast speeder, and like fly cards and so on, which will make sense in a second. We'll actually play her. And then there's three others that you can play as well, and they all play a little differently. Actually, quite a bit differently, to be honest, because they have their own cards and so on. There's a few cards that are shared between each of the different ones. And as you progress through the campaign story stuff, which you can also replay, there's challenges involved, which then doing the missions and challenges unlocks you these crystals of Mahoken, which you can use to upgrade different parts of your progress. Like you can get upgraded cards, you can get new options as you do different things. Like you can also remove some cards, like for example the strike cards, which I do myself quite a lot. As I said, you can upgrade and improve the quality of your deck by removing cards, and removing some of those strikes cards, for example, is very key often as well. Or depending on a mission, in some missions, you kind of have to rush. For example, there's different mission types where you have to reach a certain place within a time limit. There's often some kind of pressing need to go fast to a certain location. And then there's, for example, missions where you have to go to protect the place before this big demon destroys it, or Oni destroys it. And then there's another mission where an enemy goes around the map destroying villages, and you have to basically stop him before he destroys all the villages. So there's often this like element of having to go faster, but sometimes after you've gone there fast, you don't specifically need those movement cards anymore. So you might wanna like get rid of them, and then just focus on like defense and attack cards instead. But we'll play one of the missions. We'll do the Goblin Swarm here, side mission. We're gonna accept it, and we're gonna go with our first character here, Ayaka. And as you play through the campaign with the characters, they level up and you unlock like equipment, new cards, and so on and so on. And we get to pick one of the equipment in the start here. And then we get our victory conditions here. So there's usually a victory objective. I mean, there's always a victory objective because you need to finish the mission somehow, I guess. And then there's sometimes also a fail condition, like if you don't defend this village and it dies, so you fail. But this one is one of the easy side missions. This actually doesn't have any time limit or any fail condition other than, of course, you dying, which is bad. And the only real victory or the fail condition on this mission is the fact that there is multiple of these corrupted pits, which actually show up around this point of the story. And they show up very much in later missions as well. But these are basically infinite spawners that spawn infinite enemies. So your difficulty in this mission is to kill all of the pits before you get swarmed by tons of enemies, basically. Alright, we'll just close that. One of our upgrades lets us pick up a card in the beginning, and since her protective spirit, kami, basically, or it's like spirit, is Tengu, which is this kind of bird person, basically. She has fly abilities and things related to that. And then there's the other character who's like this kind of defensive samurai character. His spirit is Kappa, which is basically this basically a turtle person. So he has defensive cards and like shields and so on and so on. And then you have one that's a spider, and then the last one is a foxy lady. And they all play differently, and the kind of the whole team and the style of the character is related to that spirit, basically. But yeah, we'll grab a fly card, which will make sense in a second, and there's also defense here. So this is the map, basically, and it's kind of interesting how the cards and this is basically like a board game. It looks like a hex-based board game and so on and so on. So here's the pizza. There's one of them, and there's one down here, and then there's one up here that we have to deal with. And here we are. So there's all kinds of different things on the map. Like you can see glowy cards, which gives you new cards. There's some money. There's these landmarks, like a village that allows you to buy new cards. There's a castle that allows you to get talismans, which are like a relics or whatever that gives kind of buffer, basically. And then you have like a shrine that allows you to remove cards from your deck, and so on and so on. And then you get all like healing potions, different enemies, and all kinds of things on the map. And of course, the different landscape also affects your movement. So let's go through the UI quickly before we go to the movement and everything. So up here you have your character, all the information about your character, your energy on your draw cards, and base strength and defense, which affect your attack and defense cards directly. And then you can also see all the debuffs and everything, and you can actually check them here if you want to check out what is this weakness on my character, for example, and so on. And then you have your gold, and you have your deck. You can check out your deck always, how much or what cards you have available. You can also do the same from down here. So we have these in our hand currently, and we can check, okay, there's 2 cards left here. So you actually kind of predict what you will be drawing next. And then you have a discard pile on the side there. And then the turn timer here. So you have energy, which you're using for movement. And then you are using also to play the cards. Very like a Slay the Spire, as I said, very very similar setup, but the gameplay is a lot different, obviously. And then different like tiles, like a plains tile costs 1 energy to move. Forests and hills are like 2, and then there's like mountains that are 3. And then you have abilities like a fly, which gives a flying ability for your character, which we're actually going to play here. For starters, so our character can now fly, which then reduces all the movement to just 1 per tile. Each tile also can have some defensive and other bonuses, like a forest gives +4 for our current character. Defense, the hills give a +3, and then there's a mountains that give +2 and +4 on attack and defense. Also, the type of the tile can affect things, especially on the spider character. There's actually also on this character. So when you enter or leave a specific type of character with some of these cards, so there's, for example, dash. So these are the basic strike cards. So you just do 1 energy for 6 damage, and then you have movement cards, which allow you to dash, which this moves you 1 tile for 1 cost. So, for example, going into the forest would normally cost you 2, but you can dash into there, plus also to give some defense. So the spider character, for example, has characters cards where if you are on a plain style and you dash from there, you get cards. And there's another one where if you enter a forest at the end of the dash, you get something. And so the terrain plays a lot of part in that. Just on the movement, obviously, it limits you, and especially in the missions where time is of the essence. Choosing not the massive mountain range to go through might be a good idea. But yeah, let's just get going now that we have that. Also down here with our energy, now that we have 3 out of 4, as we use the fly card, we also have our the item we chose in the beginning. So our storm dagger is here. We can use it to gain some strength, and strength is basically increasing the damage you do. So we can just hop here. We'll grab the card. And this gives you additional cards. So, for example, here is the one of the cards that I was just explaining. So here's the dash. Acrobatics gives you 2 tile dash. So it's very efficient for moving it through. There's some that are like dash 4 when you upgrade them. And dashing through, there's also dash 3 right here. So dashing through 3 tiles of mountain for a 0 cost and just discarding another card, or just paying 1 and dashing through 2 is a lot more efficient than using 3 energy to go through a mountain tile, obviously. But yeah, we'll grab acrobatics. And when you pick a card, it ultimately gets added to your hand, which can be very strategic sometimes, as you might just need like a movement card or something, and you know that, okay, I might be able to buy that from a town, so you can just jump into a town. So we could actually just jump here, do a dash. So actually we should not do that. We should go here. So we go to the plains here. So we're currently in a plain style, and this dash will allow us to get 2 cards, which we can't obviously play, but we can just jump into here. There was this pop-up here. So this is a enemy that saw us, so he will be attacking us. So if you go close to enemy, they will spot you and they will attack you, unless you're in stealth. So you can be a sneaky as well if you want to be. So we are currently in the village, and we can buy cards. So you have a selection of cards. You can buy any amount as long as you have the money. This person also has the weirdest hat. That I was wondering, like, that is a interesting way of wearing a hat. So there's a bunch of different cards we can grab, and let's see if anything. Nothing really tickles my fancy currently, so we're actually gonna not buy anything. I think we are actually going to be wanting to upgrade our quality of our deck instead first. So we're gonna just wait here as our energy is out. We'll skip to the next turn. A goblin minion is attacking us. He's hitting us for 4. But we had enough armor, so it actually didn't do any damage. You can also check out enemies' information by clicking on them, and you can see like how long they track. So actually, if they see you, but if you dash away, for example, really fast, you can lose them, and they're gonna stop tracking you. But usually, you will have to deal with them. So we're just gonna play a strike card and just whack him in the head, and then we get some coins from him, and he's gone. And we have some more fast, safe travel. We could go grab that and poke that guy also. But we don't actually have enough strength to kill him. So we're gonna be actually going this way. Checking the castle, and then we're gonna check out the card in there. I should probably actually grab this here, and we'll dash to the castle. So we got some money from the chest over in the forest. And like planning your movement is obviously a key in this. Like even just 1 extra tile movement can help so much in some situations. So we're in the castle, and this is where you can get your talismans. So we get a choice in a talisman. We get only 1 of them remaining acquisitions, and these are like basically buffs. Like you get more money when you kill enemies. You get spikes when you take damage, and spike is basically damage reflection. Or you get health when you fully block an attack, or you get energy when you enter forest tiles. Let's just go for the glowing leaves for now. And then we can basically end our turn, I guess. I should have actually moved out there. So this is how the demon pits or whatever, the corrupted pits, they spawn enemies. So here is actually good. So we should, if we want to move here, we have to go like this. But if you play flying, obviously, we can save at least a tile of movement, but in the mountains it would be a lot better. So we're gonna fly here into the shrine, and this allows you to purify your deck, so basically destroy cards or remove them from your deck. And we have these 8 cards currently in our deck, and we will cycle through these as we play the cards. So obviously the less cards we have, the more often we'll see the same ones. So like in many card games, having as little cards of as good cards as possible is often very good. So you can just quickly cycle through your deck multiple times and just play the same things. Especially if you have somehow to draw more cards and then get like play them for like free, for example, like a 0 costing cards. So you can just basically just slam like 1,000 cards in the face of an enemy and they just insta die. This applies in this game as well. So for example, I have a Strike Plus card because we upgraded that with the crystals outside of the mission. So I could basically destroy all of these strike cards out of my deck, which only cost me 100 because we have also free up destruction next to the crystal upgrades. And I could probably also take out one of these safe travels. So I'm gonna actually just do that. And now we have 4 cards, and I think we draw 3 or 4 cards per turn. So we will always draw these. So I will always have these basically in the hand now, at the start of a turn. And obviously that's very, very powerful when you have like a good combo or just good cards. And often they're like the strike cards, and the same thing with these like safe travels. Like this is obviously much better. It's same costing, but you move 2 tiles. Of course, there's defense a little different effects, but basically, often these are basic cards, and then you get common cards, and you get like rare cards and unique cards as well on submissions. And obviously, the quality of cards is much better. So you want to basically throw like the strikes away because they're like 5 damage for 1, when you can have like 12 damage and a debuff for 1. Obviously, you want that 12 power card to come much more often than the one power card, and you just basically want to throw them away from your deck. And you can also, the nice thing about this is that you can always use these places. Well, you can pick one talisman from the castle, but like the towns and the purifying your cards and so on, or upgrading. Here's so you can use them multiple times, and you can go back and forth. So if you wanna come back and grab it again, you can do it again as well, which is great. Instead of in some games where you get one-time use and that's it. But no, not in this one. So we'll just do that. And here is our 4 cards that are the only cards in my deck. So I have 0 in here and 0 in the discard, which is really nice. Except if I'm using this one, for example. So we could dash here and I'll show you. So we should be getting 2 cards because all these count as planes, the towns and shrines and whatever, they're always planes. So this is the problem if you don't have enough cards. So we're jumping here. We draw 2, but we didn't draw anything because there was nothing in our deck to draw. And also, because this card was currently being played, it wasn't in the discard pile yet, which meant that it didn't get cycled into the new cards. So we basically did get the effect, but since we didn't have cards, we didn't get anything. So there's a whole like this strategy of building your deck and whatever to making sure it just plays exactly where you want. So we're just gonna be getting some more enemies there. I guess we'll just jump in. And we're gonna get another enemy there. And we'll get slashed. There's a lot of like debuffs as well. Like that's a basic enemy, just pokes you. But I think one of these will have some poison, for example. And then there's like a different debilitating effects. You take more damage from any of your attack. You have less damage, like a base strength yourself. And then there's some really nasty enemies, like these cultists especially, who put these annoying cards in your hand and deck. So they just take space, so you draw a card and it's well, it's a curse, yay. And actually just drawing the curse does damage to you, which is not great. Alright, we're gonna be dashing into the forest here. And then we're gonna strike you. There we go. And then I actually want the card here, so we're gonna be dashing up the hill and walking down. There's another, basically like a curse, but the reverse. So this is a very nice card as well. So when you draw it, you get healing. So even without doing anything, you get healing, basically already. A great card. And then there's these different win options in some of these cards as well. So for example, this is when enraged. So you've taken at least 10 damage since last turn. You can play this card to recover 8 health. But you can't actually do anything with it if you haven't lost this. There's different options of these. For example, there's one where you have to have played enough cards to be able to play it that turn as well. And similar ones. So there's different conditions on playing some of these cards, if you can or not. And there's like this ephemeral, which is basically a one-time use card. So it's basically just heal and get rid of poisons or whatever. Sometimes really handy to just grab a... But we are gonna grab another acrobatics so we can keep dashing around. And this is an enemy... Just goblin warriors. These are actually not the poisoning ones. I think the poisoning ones are coming from the south here. so you get different enemies from different locations. We're gonna be just ignoring these guys, and we're dashing through. And some characters like this one is fairly fast with the dashes, especially upgraded dashes, which improves the quality of card, and usually adds like a plus dashes range and so on. Allows you to go around pretty fast. And then there's the spider character who just zooms throughout the map. And he's really good on some of the missions where you have to go really fast into a place, or there's an enemy that's chasing you and you have to get away from him or something. It's really handy for that. But this is also a very handy situation for us to use our relic here, or the weapon we picked up. So we're using the Storm Dagger to gain a 4 strength, and it goes 6 turn cooldown. And now we have a buff here. Well, should have, at least. So we have a 4 strength. I'm not sure why it's not visible there. But we now have this green text here, and we do actually 14 damage instead of the previous 10. So we're going to just be slicing this guy a little bit. And then I'm going to be flying, because that gives me defense. And I'm also going to jump up the hill. So we get the defense. I should have probably actually jumped here for the extra damage first. There is also cards that do like AoE damage, especially on the defensive samurai guy. He can actually AoE enemies pretty well. There's one card that gets 8 damage per adjacent enemy, and you can just basically just blow up a massive area, and it's like 2 tiles around you, and it's crazy good. And here is actually kind of a problem. I don't have enough cards now, so my attacks don't necessarily do enough damage because I can only play 1 per turn. So we're gonna actually dash into the pit here, and then we're gonna seal the pit so we don't get any extra enemies. And then we're gonna acrobatics up to the mountain and pick up hopefully, but not sadly, an offensive card. So sometimes luck can be really bad with the card draw. It's not a card game if you are not getting screwed by either a card draw or what random cards you're getting on a mission, right? But yeah, you probably shouldn't pick up any of these, so we're gonna actually take nothing. But yeah, this is basically Mahokenshin. It's kind of board gamey, a little bit of like a Slay the Spire, card deck building, and this is a pretty awesome like Asian Japanese theme. And I love there's a random not random, but there's like these small events and quest side missions you get on the missions as well that you can do, and it's a very interesting take on this genre. It's not super long though. I would estimate like 15-20 hours, and I was kind of hoping there would be like a random, more like a roguelike mode, but it seems to be quite like a story based with side missions and main missions. Like this is the first mission here, the Cradle of Shadows, and you just go through the next one and the next one and the next one as you progress through here. And I was kind of hoping there would be more of a roguelike option as well in the main menu or something, but there doesn't seem to be, at least not currently. But I do hope they actually add some more content there. We'll just jump in the main menu. But yeah, it's really neat, and if you enjoy that kind of like a maybe not more like a run-based games where you build decks and go like that. It's kind of nice in that sense, but also it's not as let's say replayable. It doesn't have the same kind of replayability as a lot of those random card run games do have. But it feels very nice, and I definitely need to play more of this myself as well and finish everything and try out all the characters and different builds on them. But anyways, that's my quick review of the Mahokenshin. Check it out. It came out pretty recently on January 24th. And I played the demo originally. I really liked the demo, and then I had to play the full game as well. But yeah, check it out. I'll see you guys next time. Check out all the other reviews and everything else on the YouTube channel. And also check out my live stream on Twitch every day on twitch.tv/Pelonar in the European evening times. And we play a lot of games like this, strategy building, management, lots of Vampire Survivor style games, and a little bit of this and that every now and then. So I'll see you there. Bye bye.